It's been a while. I always find it tricky and a bit uncomfortable for the opening of the videos, always, even though I've been doing this for a year now. So you expect that it would be easier, but it's really not. Like every time I want to start, I'm like always struggling. So I'm going to take it a bit easier today. Hello, if you're new here and if you don't know me, I'm Honey. This is my knitting channel where I usually come and share what I've been up to with my knitting and what I'm planning to make. And today I have a usual podcast format video. It's been a while, I think 6 weeks maybe since I last put out a podcast video. Life has been a bit all over the place last few weeks. I was mentally engaged in some other parts of life. But I've been knitting a lot, so I didn't really have the energy to film. But I'm glad to be back. I really miss doing this and I have so much to talk about today. And once again, I was really grateful and I was sort of reminded that I find knitting really relaxing, especially there are some things going on in your life and you really need to wind down. I was always looking forward to knitting, even on days that you're a bit not well. So I was really, again, grateful and happy to be able to do this, because I wasn't able to do this like 2 years ago. It's very new to me, and it's more than a craft. Sometimes it's more than just a craft, and it's really a way, I know, for most of us to just like wind down, still have little things to look forward to. So yeah, well, I'm glad to be back. I miss doing this. And I do have a lot to share, as I said. So I'm going to take it a bit easier today, because even today I didn't have the full, like energy that I always usually have when I film. So I'm just going to take it a bit easier. I didn't really write any notes or anything. I'm just going to sit and chat. Okay, I'm going to start with, we've got finished objects. We've got whips that you've never seen on the channel. They're new, and some new yarn, planning, a lot of things. So I'm going to start with what I'm wearing as usual. This is the Airsweater by Ozetta. This was a test knit that I recently did for her. I recently signed up for this. So this pattern was out, like the test knit was out a few weeks ago. The moment I saw her post on Instagram, I fell in love. And it's strange because I've never knit anything from Ozetta before, even though she's got so many beautiful, staple, very, like they're timeless patterns. Like you can have own one of those and just wear it for so long. Once I saw this design, there's this very main feature about the back. I'm going to put up a photo of it that I was like, oh, that's so cool. It really, it really tempted me to sign up. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up. I'll see if I get in. And I got in, which was very fun and exciting. So this is an Aran, not Aran, it's a worsted weight sweater. So the suggested yarn for this sweater is the Lamana Como Grande, I think. It's like a worsted weight yarn. I used the Isager Aran Tweed, a very fun yarn. I'm going to talk about the yarn first. So this is the yarn. I'm pretty sure most of you know this yarn. It's such a fun and happy yarn. The base is gray and there's like all sort of colors in it. This is the color Confetti. It's a bit of a tricky color to find. I had to order this, I think, from New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken. There was like a yarn shop that did have this colorway. And it's funny because I was planning to use this yarn for another project. I was planning to do like a cable cardigan or something. I'm going to get to that later. But once I ordered this online, I wasn't even signed up for the test knit. So I got this yarn, and then once I signed up for the test knit, I was planning to, find yarn. And the day that the pattern was out to start the test knit, this yarn arrived. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take this as a sign and use this yarn. This is a bit of a thicker yarn than the suggested yarn. So my gauge was a bit off with the suggested needle. So this is knit up on a 5mm needle. I had to size down to a 4.5mm needle to meet gauge. So my fabric might be a little bit denser or thicker. I think this might look better or drapier on a 5mm needle, but since it was a test knit, I wanted to meet gauge, so I sized down and I met gauge. It was so fun. I loved using this yarn. It is a bit too dry. Some people might find this even a bit itchy or scratchy. I don't have issues wearing this, but I have to say, it just transforms entirely after you block it. So I did make a gauge swatch, and once I blocked it, I was amazed. Like, I couldn't believe that it was changed that much, you know, like I was really surprised. Even though it was a very small, like 10 by 10 gauge swatch, you sometimes can't really see the whole transformation when you've got a very small sample, and you usually see that once you block the garment itself. But even with that small piece of sample, I was able to see the transformation in the yarn after blocking. So I was very sure that it's going to change. So it does feel very dry while you're knitting with it. And it wasn't like the most pleasurable experience because, yeah, too dry, but it's so fun. I love the colors. The stitch definition is so good. I'm so glad that I used it. I got 7 balls, 7 skeins. I used 5.5, so a bit less than I really ordered. And I knit mine in the first size. Mine is a little bit more cropped than it should be. I don't know why. Okay, I think my ribbing is a bit shorter, that's why. But the body is the same length. And the other cool feature about this sweater is the ribbing. I did mention this before that I've been more into 2x2 ribbing, 2x1 ribbing. I'm a bit over 1x1 ribbing. And this thick ribbing was the other thing about the sweater that I was very, very into. I'm going to talk about the construction. And you know, like once you see the sweater, you think, okay, it's just like a very basic, simple, a bit drop down something. But there are very beautiful details that really makes a difference in the final fit. And I have to say, I own a lot of sweaters by now. Mostly same vibe, like oversized drop shoulder. But this one fits me very differently. Like I'm so confident and comfortable when I wear this. There's something about it. I don't know. It's the most like the best fit sweater that I own. And I do know why, because as I said, there are these details in the design that really makes that bit of a difference. And I think that's one of the main design features of Ozetta that I've heard from other knitters as well. And now I know, you know, like where it comes from. So you cast on for the back. Let me turn around because the cool feature is actually the back. So it is a semi-saddle-ish, but the saddle shoulders, they don't sit on top of your shoulder as the usual saddles do. It's more towards the back. So you start by casting on with the Judy's Magic cast on, where you've got live stitches on both needles. And then you knit towards one shoulder, like horizontally. And then you put your stitches on hold, you pick up the live stitches and you knit towards the other shoulder. And then you basically create the back section, the back panel. And this was the first time I was using this cast on technique. I know you can also use the provisional cast on to create that live stitch situation. But I think that the provisional cast on sometimes leaves you with a bit of a visible line when you go back and pick up the live stitches, but this was much cleaner. I don't see any visible line. So I think that's a better technique to use if you want to have that, you know, like keep those live stitches on hold for the cast on. So that was pretty cool. So once you finish the back panel, you pick up stitches from below the panel and you knit towards the down, and then you keep adding increases for the armhole. You put the stitches on hold, you pick up stitches for one shoulder, you add a bit of short rows, you add increases for the neck, you do the same for the other shoulder, you join the two shoulders and cast on additional stitches for the neck, you knit a bit and then add stitches for the armhole, join in the round, and the rest is stockinette until you reach the ribbing. And the sleeves are also like picked up on the shoulders. It does have a bit of tapering effect because there are decreases involved. So yeah, and then there's like you pick up stitches for the neck. There is a few rounds of stockinette to create the rolled edge. I love it. It's so cool. It's so fun, so engaging. I finished this in 2 weeks. I usually put if I'm signed up for a Testknit, I usually only knit on that project. I don't know, it just gives me a bit of like ease of mind to make sure that I'm meeting the deadline. Okay, something's in my eye. yeah, I'm meeting the deadline. I've got some time to wear the finished piece, see how the fit is, to be able to give a bit of like a proper feedback to the designer. So yeah, I finished this in 2 weeks. Very fun knit. I loved it, how it turned out after blocking. It did change. The neckband was a bit wonky before blocking, but I was pretty sure that it's gonna sit pretty well after I block it. But the original design, and also the other designers, the testers versions, their yarn is more drapey, so it does look a bit different. I'm still very happy with the yarn combo and the design. I think they all matched pretty well. And that's why I love this sweater. Maybe it's one of my favorite sweaters. I know I say this about, we all do. Like, we always have that bias feeling about a very recent finished object. But there's something about the fit and also the color, the yarn. I actually remember that I really enjoy and I love like gray color in sweaters. I used to buy a lot of store-bought gray like sweaters, sweatshirts, or you know, like, but since I started knitting, I never knitted anything in gray. I think I'm more like keen to try colorful yarn. It's more fun to knit, and I also enjoy wearing them. But there's something about gray that I love, and this was like, wow, I need to knit with more gray color. So I do have another gray project on my needles. So yeah, I love it. It's just so good. Pattern was amazing. I only knit one accessory by Ozetta last year. It was like a very cute bag. I can't remember the name, but the amount of details that she's put into that very simple accessory pattern, I knew what I was putting myself into. I knew she is very known for attention to details, very well written patterns, and it was very there once I tried it. So I really enjoyed the experience. She was very like supportive, responsive with questions that we had. So overall, I enjoyed it. I love that I own this piece, and I'm thinking of knitting another one in a different yarn. More drapey, more cozy, you know, like a bit bigger, maybe second size. Yeah, I definitely will knit another one of these, and yeah, I love it. So cool. I think the pattern's going to be out end of November or early December. She's going to post it on her Instagram. I'll post also a note, like a story or something, on my Instagram once it was out. Yeah, if you're into Ozetta's pattern, this one's definitely a one to try. There's so many beautiful things about it that you would love having this piece. I love it. The other one that I have, this one hasn't been blocked because I knew it wouldn't be dried if I wanted to block it, and I wasn't able to show it. But this is my Daydreamer Cardigan by Kutavakika. This is finished. I finished this like a week ago, but I was a bit lazy to block it. But I'm going to block it, and I'm going to show it again next time because I know it's going to change so much after blocking. This is a raglan cardigan, and it's knit in half fisherman's rib texture. So I'll give a bit of a closer look so you can see the pattern. It was such a fun knit. If you've never knit half fisherman's rib before, it's basically when you're knitting flat, you're knitting on the wrong side. So instead of purling on the wrong side, which is the usual case in stockinette, you knit. So that's a bonus. And then on the right side, you're doing like rib stitches, like knit purls, but the knit stitches are you're knitting from the stitch below. That's the only difference. I know some people are not a fan of that. I didn't mind that. For me, it was just like doing normal ribbing, but it creates a very squishy fabric and lightweight, which I think is one of the main features of like brioche or half fisherman's rib. I love knitting this. I think I'm gonna do many more half fisherman's or brioche textures later again. I was after like a cozy, squishy cardigan. That's why I chose this one. It does meet the vision, so I'm happy. The color and the yarn that I used was a bit crazy. I'm going to talk about that, but all the ribbing, the finishing is in a twisted rib. So you twist the knit stitches. The neckband is folded, so it's a double layer, and the bottom band is a double knitted bottom band. Very clean finishing. I love it. Sleeves are very balloony, which I love. The bottom band in the pattern doesn't have buttonholes, so she's using snap buttons for the design, but she's got instructions to add buttonholes if you want. I did add buttons because I want to add buttons to this. I used the technique that Florence Miller and also I think Petiteknit has in their cardigan designs, the one that you don't have to break yarn, so you end up with no loose ends to weave in, which is always nice, and it creates a very clean look as well. I've used this many times, so I'm much comfortable doing this. What else? I've got buttons as well, but it's 2 colors, so I'm gonna match, like mix. This is a navy one, and this is a very close red to what I have in there. So I'm gonna mix these. The reason is that they didn't have enough of the red. I was going with the red one. And then I was like, okay, I maybe can mix it with the navy because there's 2 colors in this. So I can definitely use that and play around with the buttons. But I love this fabric. It's so soft, and the color. You know, sometimes you've got a vision and you make it, and then you either hit the vision too closely or you exceed the vision. This is the one of the times that I actually exceeded, because I did have a idea of like, I want to have a mold effect, and I like 2 colors, but I could have not thought of this, and couldn't have, you know, like I couldn't have imagined before I was like knitting it. So the yarn turned out pretty nice. I'm gonna share what I've used. So I've held the Isager Alpaca 2 in color 36. This is a 50-50 blend of alpaca and wool, 250 meters per 50 gram. It's a light fingering weight yarn, and I held it with the BC Garn Bio Shetland. This is again a light fingering weight yarn, 100% wool. The color is 20. It's this beautiful tweedy navy color. This is a bit dry, but once I held it with this, it made it very soft. And the fluff, I'm using the Chaska lace. It's a Story Alpaca base by them. Very nice, very soft yarn. For 20 meters you get in 1 ball, so pretty generous. I only bought 2 of these, and I was pretty sure I would need a 3rd one, but I didn't, and I've still got that much left. I actually knit mine in the 2nd size, if I forgot to mention, and I used the suggested needle size, so 5mm for the body, and I think 4 or 4.5 for the finishing. So this is the 2nd size, and I know it's gonna grow after blocking. At least that's what I've heard about this texture, that it grows width-wise once you block it. So I do look forward to that, because now it's a little bit small for what I like. And the raglan increases for this texture is a bit different. It's still easy, but it's not the usual make one left or right that we do for raglans, but it's very beautiful. I'm so glad I own this. I always had an eye on this cardigan, and now I own it. Yeah, so I ended up with 1 of each leftovers. I'm thinking of maybe making a beanie to match it, like in the same texture, like a brioche or half fisherman's rib. That would be cool to have. So yeah, once I block it and add the buttons, I'm gonna post finished object photos of this on my Instagram, so you'll be able to see it. I'm gonna show it in my next video as well. Okay, I've got 2 more tiny ones as well. You haven't seen these before. These are gifts that I'm sending over to Seattle to my sister. It's cold there, so now they're, you know, like approaching winter. This is a beanie. This is the Hipster Hat beanie by Petiteknit, very known design. This is off gauge, so I used some leftovers that I had from my Tulip Ploop roll neck sweater. I had the Cascade 220, in the color Japanese Maple. It's this very beautiful rusty red, and I held it with the Knitting for Olive mohair. I think it's Dusty Robin. So these two together, and it created this beautiful red. This is off gauge, as I said. The pattern, I think, is using a DK weight yarn, and she's using 3.5 millimeter. I use the same needle size, but the yarn is much thicker, so it's much warmer and denser, which is good. So you start with a tubular cast on, which is the nicest and cleanest cast on for ribbing, and then it's a 2x2 rib. So the usual way when you have a 2x2 ribbing for the cuffs or your hem, and then you want to do a tubular cast off, you switch your knit and purl stitches to align them. It's the same when you do the cast on. So you basically do 2 setup rounds of double knitting, and then you rearrange your knit and purl stitches to be able to do the 2x2 ribbing. So it's pretty much the same thing. Mine is a bit shorter than it should be. My decrease rate is much faster than what the pattern said. I thought that was just too slow, and it was creating a bit of a longer crown, which I didn't really want. This is going to be a gift for my sister's husband. So yeah, I hope he likes it. He's seen it already. The colors, something that he does like. Pretty quick knit, 2 days, I think. I'm not a big fan of knitting beanies. I get very bored after 10 minutes. So, but if it's a gift knit and I know someone would like wearing it, so I'm happy to make it. Anyways, last time I did mention something, like some concerns about the stack of sweaters and all my knitted pieces, that they're growing, and a lot of you guys were so kind. You were like, it's fine, just enjoy it. And it was the answer that I was actually hoping to get. There were other suggestions, as in you can do gift knitting, you can make accessories. So yeah, very helpful tips. But I'm actually sending a package of some of my knits to my sister. Some of the knits that I actually do love. I'm sending away my Maggie cardigan, the red one. I'm also sending my sweater number 28. These are the things that I've worn already many times, and I do love them, but I don't want to give something that I don't want. It's more like I want to share something that I love, and I know she's going to enjoy it as well. And she can always give it back, you know, like I'll get her to wear it for a year or 2, and then she can, you know, if it's durable and she's going to look after them, they're not things that you can only wear them. They're going to be long lasting pieces. So yeah, and a few other ones. So that's good because I can, you know, make room for some new things that I'm making, and she's going to enjoy wearing them as well during winter and the colder weather. I also made her something else that I'm sending off as well. I was in the yarn shop the other day, and I was FaceTiming with her, and then she saw this color and she was like, oh, can you please make something for me with that yarn? And there was a sample in the shop as well, with a mohair, just one strand of mohair with the same color. So this is the, oh, I always forget the name, Revoir Blouse. The designer was new to me. I think she's known as Not a Day Without Knitting on Instagram. She's got very beautiful designs, like very elegant, feminine pieces. But this was very cute on her website. This blouse has this very beautiful peacock edge thingy, and it also has the same finishing on the sleeves and the body. But I did skip that because it was giving me so much trouble, and I did not enjoy knitting with one strand of mohair. So this is knit with one strand of mohair. It's a very open gauge. It was knit on a 4.5 or 4 millimeter needle. This is how much I've got left. So this was the Kremke sole mohair, super soft. First time trying their mohair. I bought 2 balls and I only used 1.5, maybe. This is less than a half, so almost 2. and it's cute, but I did not enjoy knitting this. The construction was pretty interesting. You cast on with the neck, like the scalloped edge. It's sort of like a saddle shoulder, and then you start adding a bit of raglan increases to create the sleeves. It was nice. The pattern was very detailed and well written. There was like tutorials as well. For the finishing, it was a bit tricky. I was having trouble. There was a point that I was like, I'm over this. I'm not going to do this. So I just said, I'm going to do a simple bind off and just get over with it. And I don't think I will ever knit anything with just one strand of mohair. Maybe I do, but it was very fiddly. I used my metal needles. Maybe I should have tried the wooden needle for this. It might have helped, but overall I didn't enjoy the experience. I'm glad it's done and she's happy with it, but I didn't enjoy it. It took me a while, even though it was a small piece, but I was having trouble with finishing it. Okay, that was all my whips. I want to get to that was all my finished objects. I'm going to get to my whips. I've got 2 new ones, 2 old ones, and I'm going to start with the 2 new ones because those are the most exciting ones for me. I'm keeping them in a basket. I got this basket from my sister. She was going to throw it away, and I was like, I'm going to take that. That's a great basket for my whips. Okay. I've got another sister, by the way. This one lives here. The other one doesn't. Okay, so I was in the yarn shop the same day that I bought that pink yarn. I'm going to put up the yarn color for the pink one in the description because I can't remember the color. But yeah, I was in the yarn shop and I was like looking for a yarn to knit up a cable cardigan. I've knit this Froya sweater previously and I love that sweater. Again, when I wear that sweater, I feel the most me. Like everything about the sweater matches me so perfectly. And I was thinking maybe it's not a bad idea to own a cardigan in an all over cable texture thing. It's like, I don't own that many cardigans, even though I love cardigans, so I don't mind like adding to my collection. And I don't have an all over cable cardigan. And cardigans, I don't know, like there are days that you get like a super cold morning in Melbourne and then it gets around 30 degrees in the afternoon and then it's raining in the evening. It's just like all over the place, the weather. So if you've got a cardigan, it's just easier to put on, take off. So I was like imagining all of this to have a cozy cable cardigan, oversized for those days. And I was looking up patterns. There's so many of them out there. I even thought about like changing the Froya sweater design, make it a cardigan, and I decided to knit the Dagmar Jacket. I know this pattern had a moment last year when it was out, like everyone was knitting it. And it fits so many of the aspects or the features that I was looking for in a cardigan. The shape was pretty, the texture was very nice. So I just decided to make the Dagmar Jacket. So I went and tried to find yarn for it. And I came across this yarn. So you know I love this brand. This is the Chaska brand. I think this is such an underrated yarn. I don't see anyone use it. Maybe it's not that available everywhere, but the Maker store in Melbourne, they have these in stock. Many different bases. They've got the Suri Alpaca base. They've got this is the 60-40% blend of merino and mohair. It's the Chaska Puray base. I've used this yarn in my Olga sweater, Held It Double, for the green stripes. This color is color 7. It's a very beautiful beige color. And they have this one. This is a blown yarn. So it's like a cotton chain knit in the middle, and there's like Suri alpaca and merino. So 42% baby alpaca, 8% merino wool, 50% Pima cotton. Let me show you from close. Okay, this is so pretty. I think this is the second softest yarn that I've touched after the Cardiff cashmere. Honestly, it's that soft. It's incredibly soft. I can't believe it. And the colors are so pretty. It gives a mold effect as well because of the white cotton chain in the middle. So I thought, okay, I'm going to pair these two. So this is what I bought for the Dagmar jacket. I started the jacket and the fabric was too thick and I didn't even make a gauge swatch. But I got an idea after just a few rows and I didn't like it. So I just put it aside. I was like, okay, I'll probably just use it for another sweater. And then this yarn was discounted. I bought so much yarn, but that's okay. This was discounted on another visit to another yarn shop. This is the Aimée Corey worsted in this very beautiful gray. So I did mention that I remembered how much I love gray. So I was looking for a gray yarn and I saw this and I couldn't just leave it there. It was discounted, not a huge discount. I think it was like 20% discount. So I bought 5 of these. This is a worsted weight yarn, but I don't think it is really worsted. This looks more like a DK weight yarn. So it's 230 meters per 100 gram. It's 75% Corriedale and 25% Gotland wool. Super soft, very beautiful heathered look. I think this might be undyed. This is the color Bone. It's the most gorgeous gray. It's the exact gray that I was looking for. So I got this and I was planning, this was unplanned. So I really just had to buy the yarn because of the color. I was like, okay, I'm going to look up and find a pattern. And this design by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Sorry, I'm just jumping all over the place because it's related. The two stories are related. Sweater number 33 by My Favorite Things Knitwear came out recently and I fell in love. Like, how can you not love this sweater? It's gorgeous. And the thick ribbing that I love about this Airsweater was inside this sweater as well, but it had a very interesting raglan increases. It was so beautiful. I knew I wanted to knit this, but I didn't have an immediate plan. So I started to use this yarn. That design uses a blown yarn. So it's the Isager stuff held with a mohair. So very not similar to this. This is just like a 100% wool. But I was like, yeah, who cares? I'm going to try and see how it turns out. I started knitting this. I didn't like the fabric. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't giving me the vibe that I was looking for. And then something clicked in my head. I was like, okay, I can use this paired with this for the Dagmar and have a gray Dagmar jacket, which I honestly couldn't have planned these two yarns together. They're the exact color match. Like, if I'll show you the fabric, you can't really tell it's just two colors. And that's what I did. So this is the very beginning of my Dagmar jacket. And if I'll show you, you really can't see the two colors. It's the exact match. And it gave the amazing fabric or gauge. It's so soft. I love this. So yeah, such a happy decision and it worked out very well. I finished the increases. So now I'm just like adding straight to the back and then I'm going to pick up stitches for the front. This is only like 2 nights of work and very similar to my Froya sweater design. And I think that one really set me up for this because I really don't have to look at the charts. I'm just knitting it and it's going by so fast and you just want to go to the next row and next row and next row and just see the whole texture just, you know, like come together. I'm really enjoying this. I'm having the best set of whip selection. Like, I'm so excited about all of them. It's a fun time for me. I really don't have much to say about this because there's still a lot to go. I'm knitting mine in the first size. I'm using the same needles, 4.5 millimeter. I think my fabric is a little bit thicker. I think she's using Aran or worsted weight yarn. This might be a little bit thicker, which I don't mind. It does give me a thicker and denser fabric, which is better for a cardigan. It's going to be warmer and also the stitch definition is even, it's going to pop out better if the fabric is thicker. So I'm so happy with the yarn and the pattern. So I'm knitting on this very slowly and then I had to use the blown yarn for something else. So I thought I can use this yarn for the sweater number 33 because yeah, that one, as I said, also uses a blown yarn. But this yarn is much softer than the Isager soft. I've tried that one in 2 of my projects. That one's still soft, but no way close to this. This is like it's like cashmere soft. I could even say it's like Cardiff cashmere, but that would be a bit of an exaggeration. It's very close though. This is so soft. I wish you could touch this. This is okay. Let me show you how it's looking. Isn't this so gorgeous? I love the color, and this design is so beautiful. I'm going to talk about the design. So you start on with casting on the neck. You do a few rounds of just stockinette to create that rolled neckband. I'm knitting mine in the 2nd size because I'm a little bit off gauge. So I had to size down. The pattern does call for a 5mm needle. I'm using 4.5mm needle, but I'm still 2 stitches off. So I'm knitting the 2nd size to get the positive ease recommended for the 1st size. So you cast on with the neck. You start with that thick ribbing again, the most beautiful feature I think in this design. And then you, in the raglan stitches, you keep that ribbing, and the increases are pretty interesting. I've seen this increased stitch in a few other designs that are also in testing, so I think it's a thing now. It's maybe like a trendy design feature, but I love it. I always get so bored when I'm doing raglan increases. I don't even think they look pretty, but this one's fun to knit and also looks so cool. It's the opposite way of how we do raglan increases. There's a bit of like slip stitching involved. So yeah, I just finished the increases last night. So I finished them here, and then you join in the round for the body. So I'm only like a few rounds in for the body. The raglan, the ribbing in the raglan stitches, they follow a side in the body as well. The other cool feature about this design is the very like high split hem situation, which is so cool. I think I only need like a few more centimeters, and then you split the front and the back, and I think you just knit flat for the front and then the back, and the sleeves, and the thick ribbing goes all over the cuffs and the hem. So pretty. I'm so happy I own this. I knew I loved having this, but as I said, I didn't have an immediate plan to cast it on. But since I had the perfect yarn for it, I was ready. There is a bit of short rows as well added to the back, so it does create a bit of a nice fit. It's going so fast because all I want to do is to knit with this yarn. It's so soft. I don't want to put it down. And they've got so many beautiful colors in this design, in this yarn, sorry. Okay, I'm going to talk about my Ivy blouse very quickly because this thing is really boring, I think. I'm just so over this design. Something about it just... Okay, I know what it is. First of all, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love the pattern itself and the final look, but knitting this on a 3.5mm needle all over stockinette is just driving me crazy. It just doesn't go along at all. It's super slow, and I'm not even done with the increases. So I'm almost there. I think I've got 2 more. I know this clicking of the needles does create a very bad sound, so I try to hold it. I'm almost done with the increases. This is how it's turning. It's so beautiful. The yarn I'm using is the Isager Maryland in the color, I think 31S. It's a linen and wool blend, and I'm holding it with the Isager mohair color 36. I love the fabric. It's so beautiful. The color is really nice, but it's too slow, and it's all over stockinette, so I get bored so quickly. Like I can only do a few rounds, and since the Maryland is a blend of linen and wool, it's not the bounciest yarn, so it's not even that fun on my fingers. So I think next time I'm just gonna wait until it's finished and show it. So because there's really not much to say. It's a saddle shoulder raglan increases. You know all that. All right, let's get to the last whip. This is the Yell cardigan by the god of Fair Isle design, Marie Wallen. I talked about this in my previous video, and that video, like once I shared that, it did raise a bit of a concern for so many of you guys. this cardigan is an oversized, pretty much oversized cardigan. And I'm knitting mine in the first size. And once I shared it in the last video, so many of you reached out to me and commented also that that cardigan looks huge. And it is huge. I'm 6 inches larger than I'm supposed to be for the first size. And the cardigan itself is already, you know, like big. But first of all, I just have to say, you guys are just so nice. Like, you spend time to write me a comment that is pointing out my issue. You give me tips how to fix it. You point me to videos as in other people that have tried this and had the same issue and how they fixed. There's so much information in just a single comment that I'm like, I'm so grateful, because I'm not an experienced knitter. I've just been knitting for like a year now. So there's so many things that I still learn as I go. And when you share your experience or your knowledge, it just helps me so much. And I just had to say the big thank you to all of the people that commented and just warned me about what the hell are you doing? That cardigan looks huge. There was this comment that mentioned something like you can, like 2 of you can fit in the cardigan, and that's actually right. The circumference is like twice of my bust circumference. But anyways, I'm going to talk about like what happened and why I ended up with a big gauge. But let me show you where I'm at first. So I have finished, oh, I love this. I finished the first chart. So the first chart, this is a bottom up cardigan, by the way, if you missed my previous videos. It's a bottom-up cardigan, all over color work, fair all. There's steeking involved, so you knit in the round and then you steek the middle for the front plackets, and then also steek the armhole. So I'm still away from that section. I have finished the first. The bottom really rolls so much. I probably need to do something about that. So I finished the first chart, and the second chart is where you've got only 2 colors and it's just like not as busy as the bottom section. I think last time I was about halfway through this chart, so I just finished this section, and that's where I had to pause and check what's going on with my measurements and gauge. So I am using a 3.5 millimeter needle. The pattern suggests a 3.25 millimeter needle. I'm smaller because I'm bigger because I didn't have a 3.25 millimeter that was big enough. So I was like, I usually knit tighter when it comes to color work. So that means my gauge is a bit bigger. The fabric it is creating is actually something I like. So I don't mind my gauge, but that meant that I ended up being bigger in circumference. 6 inch, that's how much bigger I am. There was this suggestion by a few of you actually that what you can do is you can move across the steek stitches. So these are my steek stitches. Move across the steek stitches in the middle and bind off the extra fabric that you're creating. So instead of like ripping the whole thing back, you can just like bind off, move the steek stitches, and then start knitting in the smaller circumference, which was a very smart tip. I would not have thought of that myself. So I tried to do that. Let me get my notes because I had to do a lot of math to understand how off my gauge was. Okay, so these are all the maths that I had to do to understand what I was doing wrong. Okay, so so the pattern gauge is 29 stitches. I am 26 stitches, so I'm 3 stitches off, but that would make a big difference in a lot of stitches when you're casting on. So the pattern bust circumference for the first size is 122 centimeters. I'm ending up with 135 centimeters, so around 5 inch or 6 inch bigger. This tricky thing about that solution to bind off and then move the steek stitches across was I couldn't just bind off X amount of stitches. It had to be a multiple of, I don't know, let's say 11, which is the pattern, the stitch repeat for the second chart that I'm about to start. So it either had to be too small, which really didn't make a big difference in such a huge positive ease, or it had to be too huge, like too much fabric out of the cardigan. That would leave me with even smaller circumference of the first size. So like I didn't want to have that. If you know me even a little, you know I'm usually more for looser fit and more positive ease. But even for that, there is a line for me. So I don't want to have huge things on me. So it was a bit concerning. And then I was looking up on YouTube to see if anyone, like who else made this cardigan. A lot of you also mentioned a few channels as well that I looked up. I came across Taylor Owen's channel. I do follow her, but she made this cardigan a few years ago, like 2 years ago. And I watched her video on the Yell, and her version is also oversized. So I think around the same, maybe 6 inch, also larger than it's supposed to be. And the way it fits her is so good. I know it might not be everyone's taste, but I just loved how it looked when it was oversized. So it's giving more like a kimono vibe, like you can wrap it, and when it's open, it's like ripply. I don't know, it's so good. I love the version that she had, and I was like, that's fine then. I just follow what I have, and instead of like having a smaller one, I just have a way bigger one and just use it in a different vibe. I know it's going to be different than the actual cardigan that it's supposed to be, but that's fine. I think it does even add a bit of like modern-ish look to it, since it's like an all over Fair Isle cardigan. If you've got it like super oversized to wrap it around, it might be a bit cool. I don't know, these are just my thoughts. You might be screaming at the screen and be like, what the hell are you talking about? But at least now I've made the decision, and I've got the information that I need to go forward. So I know my cardigan is bigger, 6 inch. I tried the fix, I didn't like it. So it's a good decision that I made, and I'm so glad that I made that pause and I used all the great information that you guys shared with me. And now I'm just going ahead with what I have, and I know the final version that I might get. So I'm happy with that. So that's what happened with my Yell cardigan. Now I'm ready to put the stitches back on. Like, it is already on the cable, but I'm just ready to start the second chart. The second chart, I'm also using the Jamieson and Smith's yarn. This is, I don't know if it's the suggested, I think she's suggesting the Spindrift, but they're all the same. They're like this very woolly, dry, 100% Shetland wool. I've got so many colors in here. I'll probably list all of them on my Ravelry, but there are 2 other brands that I'm using. This is the Beige color. I think it's the gray blue. I've used for this section here, and also the pink here is my Rauma Fino leftover that I had from my Froya sweater. So those are the only 2 other colors that I'm using, but the rest are the Shetland, the Jamieson and Smiths, and the top section is going to be in this green held with this gray. So that's going to be my main color in the cardigan, which the green I've used here. So you can see the color and also the bottom section as well. I'm so excited about this, but I just want to keep this going very slow. I'm not in a rush to finish this. This is going to be a long-term project. I really want to enjoy the process of this and, you know, like just have it as a fun project to have aside and have the chance to work on it whenever I feel like it. And I love it. I love color work. I love Marie Wallen's designs. I'm so glad that I'm, you know, like getting into steeking, because that was the main thing about this cardigan that I was afraid of. But once again, thank you so much for all the suggestions, tips, concerns. You guys were worried that my cardigan's going to be so huge. Even my mom called me after that video. She was like, that cardigan that you're knitting, that's so big. And I was like, okay, you're not the first one that is saying that. I know it's big. Okay, anyways, that's my Yell cardigan. You get yourself ready to see this cardigan at least for another few episodes, because I don't think I'm going to finish that anytime soon. That was all my projects. I just have one fun plan that I have to share. I was thinking of putting together like a video of my usual, like what I'm planning to cast on next, but I don't see myself doing that. So I thought I'm just going to share it in this video and talk about it because the yarn just arrived today. So I'm so excited. This might be a Christmas sweater for me. It's not a Christmas sweater, but I might use it for my Christmas sweater. So this book came out recently by Line Publishing. I think it's Line. Yeah, Line Publishing. It's The Art of the Sea. 23 knitwear designs inspired by the Moomins. I'm not a Moomin fan, but the sweaters, the designs in this book are so beautiful that I could not resist buying it. I might do a video of like doing a, not a review, but the patterns that are in this book because I think they're all so beautiful and I don't have time to go through all of them today. So I'm just going to share the one that I'm planning to make, and that is this beautiful colorwork sweater by Other Loops. Isn't this just stunning? I don't know. It might not be for everyone, but I love it. It's called the Flower Loop sweater. Flower Loop is a soft raglan sweater inspired by the idea of Moomin Mama. That's cute. So yeah, it's a raglan sweater top down in the round. So color work's going to be on the right side and it's so gorgeous. The color that she has is just so good that I was happy to copy it. But then I was thinking of making a fun color sweater, a bit of a Christmassy vibe, but not only Christmassy. So I can only wear it during Christmas. Like I have the option to wear it some other time. So I thought maybe I can play around with the colors. So I was trying to sketch. This time I'm sketching and not using ChatGPT to generate the photos. But I'm gonna go with this version. I might pop up a photo on screen if the colors are not coming through. But I'm thinking of a green base. And I got this color inspo by a pair of sneakers that I own. I'll put the photo of the shoes as well. So it's the green with a very bright pink, like super bright. So that's the idea. And then there is a lavender color as well for the other section. Also, I got inspired. I was walking the other day on our street and there's this tree with very lavendery color flowers. Oh, it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And I was like, this is such a great color combo, green and lavender. So all of these colors came into mind. I sketched it, I loved it, and I ordered the yarn online, which is strange. I usually go in and pick colors from the store to make sure the colors match, but I think I found the best match. The feeling that is involved in unpacking a new yarn delivery, nothing close to it. Okay, these are my colors. Ugh. Yay! Oh, it's so happy. So this is going to be my main color. I think this is the greatest grain match that I could get. So the photos on their website, again, I got these from Maker store. This is the Mary Merino 220 from Kremke Soul Wool. It's their merino base. It's a fingering weight yarn. The pattern is also using, I think she's using the Isager Tweed, the fingering with silk. And that was a no yarn for me because I know it's itchy. I've tried that yarn in the Norma sweater. I find it itchy. Like I literally find nothing itchy. I can wear everything that I've knit. That only sweater, there's something about it that I can't bear it. It's uncomfortable. I think this is 100% merino wool. It's 220 meter in 50 gram. It's the color 17. It's a gorgeous green. I'm going to pair this with the Isager Silk Mohair color 37. I still haven't got that one. I had to order that from somewhere else because they didn't have a pairing mohair with this. I think that's going to be a really good match. So this is going to be my main color. I mean, this color is just so nice. Again, my favorite yarn. This is the Chaska Puray. This is like a light DK, but I think it's more like a fingering really. And I've got this fluff. This is a Suri Alpaca base. It's Uma, made in Peru. Never tried this yarn before. 25 gram, 210 meters, 37% baby Suri, 37 kid silk mohair, 26% mulberry silk. Oh, it's the softest fluff. So I'm gonna pair these two for the flowers, and then the lavender is again the Chaska Puray in color 16. Guys, if you have access to this yarn, honestly, give it a try and let me know what you think. I think it's a very underrated yarn. It's such a good base. There's so many beautiful colors and very fun to knit with. The price range isn't too expensive and it's not too on the other side. So I think it's somewhere in the middle, but you get a lot of yardage. So this is 200 meters for 50 gram. So yeah, that's my yarn combo. Oh, I'm so excited. It does give a bit of a Christmassy vibe because of the green. I think the green is such a Christmassy green. So yeah, this is going to be my next color work sweater and I'm so happy. So yeah, that's my first knit that I'm planning to make from that book. There is another one that I'm also so excited about. I'm not going to talk about it today. I've been talking for so long. Oh my God. It was so nice to be back. I'm so glad that I did this, even though I really didn't feel like talking, but it's always so fun to talk about things that make you happy, and there are people out there that they share the same happiness with you. So thanks again for joining me today. You can also follow me on Instagram. I do share not a ton, but I do share at least sometimes about what I'm working on, like behind the scenes of all these projects there, so you can find me there. Also on Ravelry as well. Link to everything that I talked about is going to be in the description of the video. Hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are. Happy knitting, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.